Hey guys, let me quickly remind you that I'm reading a book, Rest in the Tide for you, and today is the fourth chapter, Crazy Dora. Let's begin. After school, the next day, Ella found Dora's house. She stood in front of it, looking at the sculptures. One of them reminded her of a diver. There was an old blue car parked beside the house. Of the bottom half of it was covered in red dust. Elle went to the front door and pressed the doorbell. She didn't hear a ring inside the house, and no one came. She pressed it again. Nothing. Maybe the doorbell wasn't working. Then she heard a noise that seemed to be coming from the back of the house. She walked over to the car and along the side of the house. The noise got louder. It was voice. She saw she sounded angry, and suddenly Ella walked a few steps into the backyard. Then she saw that the back door of the house was open, and inside stood a woman, and the floor around her was covered in the broken glass and hundreds of buttons. Suddenly, the woman looked up and saw Ella standing there. "Who are you?" she demanded. Said Ella nervously. "I'm Ella Harrison. What do you want?" Um, I, um, are you Dora? Yes. Some girls at school told me about you. I'm interested in metalsmithing and making jewelry and listen, listen, Emma. I can't really talk at the moment. Ella? What? Ella. My name is Ella. Dora, Dora turned and stepped out into the sun. Listen, girl, something on someone has been in my house while I've been away. I came back 10 minutes ago and I found it. I and found it looking like this. She pointed at the mess on the floor. I don't feel like chatting, okay? Yes, of course, said Ella. So go away and Dora suddenly stopped speaking. Then just uh, just as suddenly she gave Ella a big smile and said, "Sorry, I'm being rude. Come in." She stepped back inside the house. "Come in. We'll have a chat and you can help me clean clean up this mess." Ella didn't understand the change in Dora. Maybe she really crazy she thought, but she wasn't going to miss her chance to find out. "Oh, thank you," she said. Dora grabbed a broom and made a path through the buttons and glass on the floor, and Ella walked in. The room was a mess, but Ella had a feeling that perhaps it wasn't very neat room away anyway. It seems to be a kitchen, but there was a long workbench in there too, covered in tools and bits of metal, and half finished sculptures. A book of jewelry designs lay open against the window. To Ella it looked like heaven. I rang the doorbell, Ella said, but no one answered. "It's broken," said Dora, brushing her hair back off her face. She pushed the button, she pushed the broom through the mess on the floor, like everything else. "Sit down," she said. "I'll make a cup of tea." Ella said, and Ella sat at a small table in the middle of the room. "Where did all the buttons come from?" she asked. Dora studied her for a moment before she answered. "My father used to collect them. He was a driver. He came Here from Japan, between the wars. She put two mugs on the table. These days, Broome is famous for its pearls, but in the 8 1920s and 30s, the big money was in shell. Maybe father divided for mother of pearl shell. It was sent all around the world to make buttons. She picked up a button from the floor and dropped it into Ella's hand. Now I collect them. Ella reached down and picked up more buttons. They were all different shapes. They're beautiful, she said. Dora stared at Ella and then went to get the broom again. Here, she nearly threw the buttons at the broom at Ella. You can start cleaning up while I'm making the tea. One minute she's friendly and the next minute she's not, throw, thought Ella. She's crazy. She looked at the floor. There were buttons everywhere. She might still be here at midnight. She might still be here at midnight. She began to sweep everything into a pile near the workbench. She saw the tools lying there again. I wish I could use them, she thought. Do they still make mother of pearl buttons? She asked. Dora laughed. That business is dead. She poured tea into the mugs on the table. In the 1950s, someone made the first plastic button. It was cheap and bright. No one wanted to shell buttons after that. The business was dead. The town was dead. She went to a cupboard and pulled out a plastic bag. She gave it to Ella. You can start putting the buttons in there, she said, and sat down at the table. Ella sat down on the floor and began to pick up buttons. How had this become her job? She wondered if Dora was going to help her at all. Kuribayashi, Dora suddenly said. Ella looked up at her. What was she talking about? Toku, Tokushi Kiribayashi. Who? Ella asked. He was the man who saved this town, like my father. He came from Japan. He discovered how to grow pearls in the world's largest pearl mother, the Pin, Pinctada Maxima. Dora suddenly stopped and said, "Oh." Then she stood up and rushed out of the room. Ella sat on the floor among the buttons. What was happening now? She waited. She put more buttons in the bag. Calmly, Dora came back, sat at the table, and drank her tea. She looked at Ella and asked, "Do you think it was an animal or a person who made this mess?" I um I don't. Is anything missing? Asked Ella. No, no, I don't think so, said Dora carefully. It's strange, isn't it? What? Why would a person come in here and break open all the jars of buttons my father and I have collected, but not take anything, but no, but not take anything. Are you sure nothing missing? I don't know, Ella. You tell me. What do you mean? The drawers in my bedroom were open too. I wonder what the person wanted. Can you tell me, Ella? Can you? What do you? Oh no, Ella quickly stood up. You think I did it? Something going on. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Bye.